Good early morning to you. I'm KDKA First Alert Meteorologist Ray Petlin. We have a tornado warning that's in effect until 12:15, and this one is for Allegheny and Westmoreland counties near Munhall, just south of Munhall, near McKeesport. We have some rotation showing up on the radar. That doesn't always necessarily mean that that's translating all the way down to the ground, but when the radar gets that tight rotation, it's one of those indications that you could be dealing with a tornado. So what we're looking at is that rotation that prompted this tornado warning just moments ago, and it's right here near McKeesport. You see this little part where it juts in. That would be an indication that some winds are being pulled inside this storm, trying to give it that rotation that could lead to a tornado. And it's not looking very much like one of those ones that would pop big time on the radar, but you can certainly see we have some indication of winds blowing towards the radar, which is up in Moon Township, so out by the Pittsburgh International Airport. So we have some winds in green blowing that way, and right next to it we have winds blowing in the opposite direction. So with a situation like that, you do have to take all your tornado precautions, meaning get to the lowest level of your home and wait this one out. You want to stay away from windows. You want to be in an interior room. If you don't have a basement, a bathroom would usually be a good place, something inside with as many walls between you and the storm as possible. But this is a radar-indicated tornado warning for areas of extreme eastern Allegheny County, and this pushes out towards Westmoreland County. I'm going to show you just the warning itself. You can see it goes out to Penn Township through North Huntington, from McKeesport almost down to Arona. This is south of Turtle Creek, south of Murraysville, south of Route 22. So it's essentially going from McKeesport and then just passing over the turnpike there, I-76. As it goes down towards Arona. So this in effect for another 11 minutes for Allegheny and Westmoreland counties. Now I'm going to pop up my chat with the National Weather Service to see what we're seeing. They're saying the rotation signature off of the airport prompted this warning. It's about 30 to 35 knots, which is about 55 miles per hour, which we call gate to gate. So from one pixel essentially to the next pixel, which indicates that rotation within these storms. So this one is in effect until 12:15, and it's for a tornado or a storm that is prompting that tornado warning that's moving at about 45 miles per hour. So let's put some trackers on this so you can see the towns that are in the path of this storm. So at about 45 miles per hour, that would, we're going to have to zoom out on this and try that again. But essentially, we're going to see this storm, if my mouse wants to work for me here, we're going to zoom out. There we go. It's early in the morning even for the computer. But for this storm, we are going to see this one moving at about 45 miles per hour. So this is moving through North Huntington and eventually on towards the way of Greensburg. So we're going to be looking at this one moving towards Penn Township here in probably not so much the next 20 minutes, but more so the next 15 minutes or so. So this is a quick moving storm like most of them have been over the course of the evening. So we've been watching this line, and this is one of those more interesting storms. I'm going to turn off the warnings here so we can see what's going on. You can certainly see a bow here, which is an indication that you have those stronger winds pushing from behind this storm. So one, this is a fast-moving storm with a good push of winds behind it, and sometimes on the front edge you get those little notches which would indicate that rotation in there. So sometimes they'll be moving through and then pick up on enough forward motion where it interacts with the winds around it and you pull off that rotation. So again, if you're in this red, what we would call polygon, you'll want to be in the lowest level of your home. So that would include North Huntington. This would be in Jeanette, McKeesport. This is south of Turtle Creek, although Turtle Creek, you know, there's a storm coming through for you as well. But these areas from Turtle Creek right down Route 30, if you're near that, get into the lowest level of your home and wait this one out as we are seeing this storm race to the east at about 45 miles per hour. And eventually, this one is going to move on towards Greensburg. And we've been watching this storm here for quite some time. It's had this history of stronger winds, but very small little rotations within it over time. And this is the first tornado warning that's actually crossed over the state line all evening. All the activity's been up north, and then you get this one here in Allegheny County, and we're looking at this storm. I'm going to pop up the sky cam here, and this would sort of look from downtown Pittsburgh, and in the distance you'd see that storm. So we're not getting a lot of lightning flashes from this one, but certainly this has already moved past downtown Pittsburgh. So we're going to get right on the radar. I thought maybe we'd see a little more activity from that shot. But on this radar, the latest trend has been for that rotation to be weakening. The tornado warning goes until 12:15. And with this, we're going to go back to what we would call the velocity, or the motion within inside the storm. And we'll get in a little closer on that here and see what we're dealing with as this storm is moving from Allegheny County into Westmoreland County. So still some strong winds. This is just east of Clairton, moving towards North Huntington right now, where you get this bright pink. That would be the indication of some stronger winds pushing in this area. But usually you'd want to see an opposing wind, like a green or a blue showing up on the radar, which would show that you have that rotation there. So we're going to look at this a different way. We're going to look at it in what we call storm relative mode, where it shows the storm's motion as part. It gets taken into account for part of this motion. You can see towards North Huntington, right on 30 here, we have that just that little tiny bit of rotation, but it's not looking too terribly strong at the moment, which is a good sign. That's what if you're going to have rotation, that's what you want to see. But it was enough for the National Weather Service to trigger this tornado warning that is in effect until 12:15. And I'm looking here. So they were looking at the terminal Doppler radar, which is the airport radar. We're going to switch to that real quick and see if that gives us any clearer indication of what's going on, which we have two radars nearby, and one of those is up by just north of the airport, and one at the National Weather Service office in Moon Township. And we're going to look at the velocity on this one and see what we have going on. But overall, this is showing some good signs of weakening, which is great news. And we're going to stick on here for the next 6 minutes until this warning is expired. In addition to this tornado warning, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that we'll show you here that encompasses that tornado warning. And the severe thunderstorm warning is a lot bigger. And this is in effect up until 12:30. So it has another 15 minutes on it where the tornado warning, which is this red box in between just north of Elizabeth, moving towards Greensburg through North Huntington, has another 5 minutes left on it. So this orange box, which does include Elizabeth, almost up to Kiskimenitis to Mount Pleasant, just along that Westmoreland and Fayette County line, there's a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 12:30. And this is for the potential of damaging winds contained within this storm. And when you have these bows, that's usually an indication that you have some stronger winds pushing in the middle here, and what we would call the apex of the bow is where you'd have the strongest winds. But that's also where we're getting that little bit of rotation trying to show up. And right here, this is north of the warning, but it's just another one of those little notches where you can see how that's trying to twirl up. So I'm going to take a closer look at that here on the radar. We'll zoom in a little closer and take a look at the velocities again. So we have this little area up here that's not showing up too well, but we still have some broad rotation, which is near North Huntington, trying to move out of Elizabeth and essentially travel along Route 30 towards Greensburg. So if you're watching from Greensburg, even though you're not included in this warning, we want you to just pay attention to this storm, because a storm with a history is moving in your general direction, essentially right along Route 30. So this is pretty much out of Allegheny County at this moment, and more so into the way of North Huntington, where we're seeing some of the issues right on the front edge of this. So we're starting to push out ahead of the actual tornado warning polygon or tornado warning box that we have on here. So we're going to see if the National Weather Service is going to hang on to this warning or drop it. I would think that this is going to be probably expired here in the next little bit, and possibly put into, with the severe thunderstorm warning, the tornado possible tag that they add in when it's just some broad rotation in there. There hasn't been reports on the ground, but certainly something that's being monitored within a bigger storm system. So they'll put the tornado possible, what we would call tag, on that should they allow this to expire here in the next 3 minutes, which I'm expecting to be the case. And then we'll get you right back into programming. But we're going to get, while we're waiting here, a little closer into this and take a look at what we're dealing with here. So right now, the worst of this one has seemed to even pass North Huntington right now, moving up just south of North Huntington. Some still good winds in this storm. So that's something that we're going to have to watch for. And mind you, these are just radar estimated winds. But when you start getting in these brighter pinks, that would be a severe wind, 58 miles per hour or greater, or what we would consider severe thunderstorm type winds is what we're looking at here. But on this view, in just looking at the velocity, we're not seeing too much in the way of rotation. But when you take into account the motion of the storm itself, what we call storm relative velocity, we've been seeing some broad rotation, and that's even looking a lot weaker right now, which is one of the good signs that we have going on. We still, around this, have a severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 12:30, so another 17 minutes left on that one. But I'm expecting here in the next minute and 15 seconds that the National Weather Service is going to expire this tornado warning that is in effect for Allegheny County, extreme eastern Allegheny County, and western Westmoreland County, essentially North Huntington to Penn Township right now. And the National Weather Service just did send a message that said they are going to be expiring this one for Allegheny County and west central Westmoreland counties at 12:15. So we have another 14 seconds left on this one. So since we know that is going to expire, I want to zoom out one more time real quick, take a look at the radar for you, let you know what we're dealing with here over the next little bit. And just let you know we're going to stay on until these storms are out of here. We're going to be here for you. If it's the middle of the night, we're going to pop on and let you know if there's a concern. One of those concerns was this tornado warning, which is going to be allowed to expire here in the next 20 seconds. We still have a bow echo, which is a sign of stronger winds pushing out with these storms. That's moving on towards Greensburg, and that's why you have the severe thunderstorm warning. But Greensburg, I want you to pay attention to this one because it does have a history. It did have that rotation. Oftentimes when you have these bow echoes, you get those little kinks on the front end, and that can, if it interacts with the surrounding prevailing winds and the terrain, it can give you that little twist up. And that's one of the things we're going to be watching here for you in the next little bit. But that tornado warning is expired. So what we're going to do is we are going to send you back to programming. Just know that we're going to be here for you all night long. Should something pop up, we're going to let you know about it. Stay safe.